After being targeted by a 98K sniper rifle, he froze mid-escape. Even when an out-of-control car rolled towards him, he stopped again and instantly bent down after calculating the timing in his mind. He was a magician, but more like a wizard because his performance relied entirely on prophecy. He predicted that a woman's necklace would fall off in 3 seconds. The woman didn't believe him, so he started counting down 3, 2, 1. Chris had the ability to foresee the next 2 minutes. With this ability, his life was extremely carefree, and he never lacked money to spend. Whenever he ran out of money, he would come to a slot machine and hit the jackpot with a random press of a button. Although he always won when gambling, Chris never placed huge bets because he understood the principle of the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. He knew that he could only skim wool bit by bit to maintain a steady flow. Therefore, Chris always quit while he was ahead and kept a low profile. Despite being so careful and cautious, his unusually lucky performance still caught the attention of the casino manager. After an intense discussion with his subordinates, the casino manager couldn't figure out what cheating method Chris used. At one point, Chris suddenly looked towards the surveillance camera as if he sensed the staring. The casino manager decided to detain Chris without hesitation. Chris, who had already foreseen his situation, calmly extinguished his cigarette butt, got up, went to the counter to exchange chips, and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, a robber suddenly appeared and pulled out a gun without saying a word. Chris, who had just returned from the foreseen scene, immediately took the initiative to control the robber when he saw him appear again. However, the security guards who rushed over mistook him for a troublemaker. Knowing that he couldn't explain clearly, Chris took off running. The casino manager immediately ordered all security guards to seal the exits. However, Chris, who could foresee the next 2 minutes, had already planned his escape route. He first pretended to lower his head and blow his nose to avoid the first security guard. Then, he came to a corner, naturally lit a cigarette, bent down to tie his shoelaces, and avoided the second security guard. He turned around, leaned against the slot machine, and successfully avoided the third security guard's line of sight. He stopped to look at his watch, which happened to resolve the tracking of the 4th group of security guards. He quickly turned around and walked into the right corridor, brushing past the 5th security guard. The security chief in the monitoring room was almost furious when he saw this scene. Chris, however, walked into the restroom at a leisurely pace, took off his coat, and threw it into the trash can. Then, he leaned against the wall with one hand and waited. He casually took an old man's hat and walked out of the restroom. He immediately pretended to use a vending machine, successfully avoiding the last 2 security guards who rushed over. After finally making it out of the casino, Chris tossed the hat, sat in an open luxury car with ease and grace, started the engine, and drove away.